All right, good morning. Back here, another episode, talking about some thoughts. Let's see. Today I kind of want to talk about what this is labeled as, which is, ego and managing expectations. And what I'm really talking about mainly is, this could fall into a lot of different things, but I'm going to talk to it in regards to people and doing CrossFit and managing the expectations of their performance and letting that be a better guide um, for what they're doing, right? And it's so often, you know, and if you're a CrossFitter, you've probably heard these things before, but your ego is one of the things that will truly make a difference on whether or not you probably have a good experience in here. Um, and it's probably the one thing that really pushes people away or out the door or gets them hurt. Um, but yeah, it's we have a sign outside of this office here, and it says "Leave your ego at the door." And I think people read it, but I don't think oftentimes it's truly applied. And what I'm getting at, and I want more people to think about, is you are a master of your own destiny in here, really. I mean, when you think about it, and what I'm getting at is when people, for instance, I had someone leave the gym and it's just CrossFit's hard on me. It's hard. And it is, right? It's hard on everybody. First off, the workouts are supposed to be challenging, yes. But if it's beating us down into a capacity that makes us not want to come back, we're probably not listening to our body. We're probably not scaling enough. We're not modifying the workouts. We're not talking to our coaches about it. You're most likely pushing yourself too hard, right? If it's keeping you from coming back. Now, I can mitigate some of that in programming, which I'm trying to do. It's just extremely challenging. The challenge of making a workout fit for everybody and their specific needs in an hour class is so damn hard. And that's where coaches come in to play and help you scale and help you modify the workout to fit those needs. But oftentimes people fall into this trap of once they get here, they look over and see someone else doing something else, and they want to start. No, well, if so and so's doing it, I'm going to try that, and they just don't put their ego away. Again, this is kind of another. It's probably a quote from somebody that I just heard, but basically, what we're trying to do is, I'm not trying to make people so sore they can't come back. That's not my goal. Your goal, each person that trains, your goal, it should be to push yourself, but within limits, meaning you don't want to push yourself so hard that it prevents you from coming back the next day. So what if the workout says do XYZ and you show up and you're like, man, I didn't sleep last night, or man, I'm stressed out from work, or whatever the thing is. Maybe like XYZ ain't happening. I'm going to go with like, this whole thing is going to change for me. I'm going to go slower. I'm going to do less. I'm going to do whatever, right? Less weight, less reps, less time. That's fine. No one here at this gym is going to not allow you to do that or going to knock you for doing that. Because ultimately, what's going to lead to your long-term success is that you are able to come back the next day and the next day and the next day, and you miss less days, right? Sure. Now, on the other side of that coin, I have people that maybe it doesn't have to do with the capacity I was just discussing as far as like leaving and quitting because of it. But when we talk about ego and managing expectations again, there are some people that they're able to come 5 days a week, some 6 days a week. but their ego and they're managing their expectations inappropriately based off their other styles outside of the gym. So maybe you are someone who's able to come all the time and you don't get too sore or whatever. You're not afraid of it. But you're beating yourself up over your performance. You're showing up, you're working out hard, but you had a day where you weren't as high on the leaderboard or whatever. Who cares? Okay. First off, again, that's ego. Your ego is what's pushing you to be so competitive that you are stressed about the leaderboard. Do not stress about the leaderboard. Do I want you to care about your performance? Yes. Do I, in the capacity of worrying about where you stand in compared to others? No, not necessarily. I'm more worried about it in the sense of like looking at trends. Okay, I haven't been performing like myself over a long period of time. Okay, I wonder what's going on. Like, using that as like an investigative tool of like, hey, one bad workout, 2 bad workouts, big deal. 2 weeks of bad workouts. Okay, what's going on? That makes me want to look into your sleep, into your hydration, into your nutrition, and your recovery, right? All those things. That's kind of what that makes me think about. And that's how I'm worried about your performance in that kind of capacity. But so often we have people beat themselves up over what they did on, one workout that they didn't do their best on. Okay. So again, manage your expectations or set realistic ones. Most people, I'm going to say all of the people at our gym have full-time jobs somewhere else, right? They're doing something else for their life, for their livelihood. They're not professional CrossFitters. So why do you expect to perform like one? Okay. Your moms, your dads, your husbands, your wives, your full-time employees. You're here to work out for an hour. You're here to have fun doing it. You're here to do it safely. You're here to leave the doors happier than you were when you came in. So again, understanding what you're trying to get out of this, why you're trying to get what you're looking for, and be realistic about there's not going to be every single day where you're like perform your absolute best, right? Lifestyle factors come into play, nutrition, sleep, stress, mobility work, all these things. So with that being said, I'll kind of get off the soapbox for today. But I hate seeing people quit because they're afraid to scale or they're not willing to scale more. Makes me want to do a better job as a coach. But again, it's this conversation that we need to continue to have about what's realistic for you, and ask yourself each day when you come in, every single day when you come in, how am I feeling? Am I sore? Am I beat up? Okay. If you are, let's back off a little bit. It's not going to be the end of the world. Something is better than nothing. So it's way better to scale down and take it easier than it is to skip altogether. Okay. I don't feel sore. I don't feel beat up. How's my stress? How's my work? How's my life at work? How's my life in my relationships at home? Right? What else is stressing me out? So find that and ask yourself again, am I too stressed? Am I like already at a 9 out of 10 because I'm so stressed out? Probably better to back off a little bit, right? Because we don't necessarily need to, the workout is a stressor. We don't necessarily need to layer on a bunch more stress or really intense levels of stress if you're already tapped out from work. But a light intensity workout or a moderate intensity workout where you're not killing yourself would probably actually help you relieve some stress, right? But again, you got to get over that mental hurdle of thinking you have to beat yourself into the ground or that you have to perform like someone else in class or whatever. So you did the body check-in, you did the stress check-in. Okay, let's just real quick. How'd you sleep? Same thing. If you're running on 4 hours of sleep, I'm not going to tell you not to work out, but maybe you should back it off on the intensity or the volume, right? If you just came off a binge or weekend and you're freaking got hammered drunk because it was Thanksgiving weekend and your family was in town and you ate like shit, blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe you ease back into it, right? Maybe you take it a little easier on today's workout. So again, I don't think we ask ourselves these questions enough. We need to get better at it, because ultimately, again, I'm trying to get you to be here day after day after day after day, long-term consistency. And that's not going to happen if you come in and you go full throttle and you can't slow down in time to recover. That's actually a really good analogy. And I've heard this one before. It's like NASCAR, or I'm not a big NASCAR guy, but it's very easy to understand this analogy. If I'm hauling ass, right, I'm going full throttle, pedal to the floor, but I have a turn coming up. If I don't take the appropriate time to slow down ahead of time, and not necessarily stop the car, but just slow down, I'm going to miss the turn and I'm going to smash into the wall. And smashing into the wall is that point of like, I can't train the next day, or I can't train for a month because I hurt myself or whatever. Right. So you have to know when to throttle down and when to ease off the gas, or you're going to smash the wall. Simple as that. It's a very good analogy for, again, managing your intensity, managing your workout expectations. And as much as, a motivating t-shirt or something might have like full throttle all the time or some fucking saying like that, right? We have to know when to, we do have to put the gas down to get results at times, but we also need to know when to back off. So be smart about it, okay? Where you can continue to train for a long time consistently. And if you're having that conversation with yourself and you're constantly battling that conversation, don't just know you're not alone. People struggle with this. It's why we're talking about it. But a lot of it has to do with your ego, right? We need to get rid of the ego. We need to be realistic and remind ourselves why we're doing this, why it's important to us, and is it really worth the risk of smashing into the wall because you refuse to slow down. So have a good week.